You want to talk about righteous holy wars and divine genocide? The Bible's violent verses are basically a manual for extremists. Take Samson, blinded and enslaved in Gaza, willing to bring down the whole temple, killing thousands just to die with his enemies. That's pure biblical suicide terrorism. And it gets worse. God commands total annihilation through Joshua and the judges. No mercy, just massacre. If this happened today, it'd be war crimes, plain and simple.
Rick, seriously, isn't it shocking that these acts would be called genocide in modern terms? And yet these biblical commands have been sanctified for centuries. How do people reconcile that morally?
Brian, that's the sick twist. Saul was cursed and lost his dynasty because he didn't slaughter enough Amalekites. Obedience equals total violence. Mercy equals downfall. Morality's thrown out the window if you're following these texts, literally.
Rick, what about the way these violent stories feed into modern hate? Like Phoenix, the guy who kills a mixed race couple to stop a plague, and God rewards him with blessings. That narrative straight up justifies racism and violence.
Precisely. That story has been twisted by extremist groups like the Phineas priesthood, who actually commit terrorist acts inspired by that ancient violence. Even Timothy McVeigh was tied to such a movement. The Bible's violent verses have a living legacy beyond just ancient texts.
It's terrifying how these verses have been weaponized, especially in the religious wars of the 16th and 17th centuries, where Christian factions labeled opponents Amalekites to justify massacres. How do we avoid repeating this?
By refusing blind faith. Brian, we have to call these texts what they are. Records of brutal tribal warfare dressed as divine command. Ignoring them won't erase the damage they've caused.
So you're saying to really be woke, we need to confront these ugly truths, not gloss over them. Because if we don't, history's cycle of violence just continues.
Wubba lubba dub dub, spot on. The Bible's violent verses aren't just dusty stories, they're warnings about what happens when divinely justified violence goes unchecked.
Sounds like the real challenge is how to reconcile faith with intellect, acknowledging the darkness and holding ourselves accountable to something better.
Exactly. We're gonna be all right only if we face these truths and say no to hate. That's the true spiritual revolution.